Hello guys, this is Thor. I'm usually not recording talking sessions, so excuse me if I forget to talk while I'm doing something. So I didn't have anything better to do today, and I decided to make a first session of SEOW video guide. First of all, a few words about SEOW. Um, I've been told that it's in development 10, 12 years. It was made by Mr. Shades and many other smart guys. Since I've been using it for only last 5 years, I don't actually know who started it in the beginning. But anyway, we should say a big thank you, guys. So, COW supports fully HSFX version of the game, and as long as HSFX was in development, all the features from the game were embraced in COW also. And much more, of course, which is the whole beauty of it. I know the documentation for COW was very well documented on wiki page in front of me. But still, for someone who would want to enter this realm, it could be a bit terrifying when he sees all of these things in front of him, and it could be uh, a traumatic experience, at least in the beginning. So this video guide was meant to serve as a sort of visual help for those guys who just want to make a campaigns for themselves or their squad mates or a wider community, which would be very much appreciated by all of us who would hopefully be invited on those campaigns. So uh, videos will go out as I finished them immediately on YouTube. While I'm not making any schedules when some part will be recorded, but we need to start from somewhere, so I decided to start from the beginning how to install the thing on your own PC. The main goal is to set up the demo campaign in this process and focus on the tips and tricks when we actually get to that point to plan units in that demo campaign. I will also make buildings and analyzing missions so all could see how um, I mean what how plans in the mission planner itself influence the game logic and how these things works hand in hand. So my opinion is that old IL-2 is not dead yet. Well, how long he will still live depends on the community which like campaigns, where I'm also belonging. New games, except superb visual and flying experience, does not provide good enough campaigning level, at least in my opinion. And but who knows? Maybe in the future, COW could get its adaptation for these new games like Battle of Stalingrad, Cliffs of Dover, DCS, which would be awesome, of course. Then we would have the whole product, visual and the campaigning all in once. So let's start with our first session, which will try to explain how to set up the system on your own PC. Over here I have a list of software which we will need in this process. First of all, we should set up the server itself. I'm usually using the free things called examp for Windows, of course, because I'm gonna set up it on this PC. Then we need some additional stuff so it will work after that. And of course we need the SEOW ingredients, which are over here, and we can start with the server now. Okay, I'm starting XAMPP, and I will install it on one of my drives. What we need here, we don't need FTP server, mQuery, we just need Apache and MySQL. I'm gonna leave these things here, no problem. So first of all, we need to put this install it somewhere. I don't have much space left on C, so I'm gonna use SSD2 drive. Okay, and let's call it exam. Okay, next. No, next, next. Okay, then after this thing has been installed, we will have a control panel where we actually can start the modules when we need them. It doesn't have to work all the time on your computer. So I'm gonna start web server, and I'm gonna start MySQL server, love by firewall, and this is what you need to get here: port 80 and SSL 443, and of course for MySQL 3306. These things can be changed, but for us it's completely not important to change anything of this. We can leave it like this. So let's see if server is working. We have it running, web server, MySQL server, but let's see if it's actually showing something. So open your browsers, any browser, and just type localhost. Okay, we have it. Localhost dashboard. Over here you can see the version of XAMPP. You want to make sure that you are using version 5, because current one, version 7 point something, doesn't work and provide and put some errors, and just stick to this version. Okay, we can close this from now on. Now let's install other necessary stuff. .fx. I'm pretty much sure that it's already inside Windows 10. I have here framework, operating system. Yes, it's in there, and also MySQL connector. MySQL connector needs to be this version 3.51. Otherwise it won't work. CDSC won't work, won't be able to connect to database. Don't ask me why, I don't know. So just make sure that you have downloaded 3.51. I already have it, so I will just go through repair thing. Repair, install, finish, that's it. So from this point we have everything set up, and we can start with extracting the MP4 public into web server itself so we can try to open it. So I'm gonna do it right now. I actually already extracted this one. It's over here. It's called MP4 public. As you can see, all the sectors are in there. What's actually this thing is? It contains pictures and PHP files. So all of these pictures are basically screen captures from the actual game where some sector is opened. Zoom into the level what guy who actually captured the data wanted, for example, to have detailed of some city. Let's open one, for example, Dombova city. Okay, let's use this one. Paint will be enough. So as you can see over here, it's just a picture. Later, the MP4 mission planner, online mission planner, will actually add the roads and the railways and the station and industrial to this map, but this is just something like a background on which this data is displayed later when we open it in the mission planner. So all the sector contains pretty much the same thing, and there are a few other stuff here like statistics, like scripts, which are actually making all the work inside of this when you are using the page itself. So I'm gonna cut it all together, cut, and you remember that we have installed the XCMP into SSD2. You want to go to htdocs and just paste it over here. Okay, it's there now. This means we should now be able to call this folder through the web page so we can see what it will give us. Since we didn't connect any database to these sectors, it will ask for that. So for opening the mission planner, you have to be sure that you are using Internet Explorer. Let's do it. host/mp4 public. Okay, so it says that it cannot find the CDB74 reference database. We need this reference database, which contains one part of the data for all the sectors, so it can open all the sectors on one page where you can click it, and later from that point you are adding the smaller database, which are very easy to work with when you load them, because this reference database is 100 and something megabytes. So the next thing we need to make before we continue, because we are not able to proceed any further from this point, we need to install the MySQL program. Protect Windows PC, of course. Run. Yes. License. I'm using this free program called Heidi SQL. It's not the fastest one. SQL jog works a lot faster, but I don't know, I'm familiar with this one, and I like it even if it's slow. So next, associate, create desktop. Yes. So launch, Heidi, open. For the start, it will look like this. He will want to connect to IP, which basically is the same like you have typed localhost, either this IP or you type localhost. It's completely the same. We haven't set any other username or password, so default what you will have is a root without password. So let's open it. Also, there are no other databases on the server. These are defaults. So we need to create this one, what the system asking from us, CDB74 underscore reference. It doesn't have to be named exactly like this, but we will use the same name, so we don't need to rename anything. So first of all, let's create database called CDB74 underscore reference. Okay, so now it's empty, nothing is there, no table, no nothing. At this point, you go to just like you have had to go to download MP4 public to SEOW stuff page. You will see this page. Let's open it so you can see yourself. Okay, how this looks like on the web. So over here, from over here, we have downloaded the CDCS, which is actually generator and analyzer program. It's over here. And then we had to download our main thing, which is SEOW mission planner. This is the one. So this is it. Also, we have to use we have to download SEOW database system, which is this. Database systems contain the reference database and contains every other system in smaller chunks, smaller databases for particular sector. So when you want to make, I don't know, Iashi campaign or something, you don't use and work on the reference, you use on much smaller Iashi database, and when you need to save, and trust me, you will have to save it a lot during the design and later in the campaign. It's much faster and much easier to work with something which is small rather than something which is big, how the reference base is, and you will see right now. So this is it. I have downloaded CDB74 and let's open it. It's over here. CDB74. Okay, so we will go to simple. As you can see, all of these are kind of small, and then you see a monster over here. 183 megabytes, which is extremely big, and it will take a long time to load this with the program Heidi. It will take few hours with this program, so I will just start it and I will leave it until it's finished, and then I will resume the recording. So for now, we want to open the sector, not the sector, the reference database, which is here, CDB reference, huge one. So it will ask, of course, because it's too big, to run it directly or to load to editor. You can leave it as a run file directly, and you will see it will pop up like few hours, I would say. Let's see how long, but it will be quite long, 4 hours 30 minutes. So see you guys in 4 hours and 30 minutes. Okay, we can continue. So CDB74 reference database has been loaded. As you can see, all the tables are in there, more or less. Some are quite big because they contain pretty much the whole thing, the whole stuff for the highways and everything on every sector which is available over here. So first thing to do when this is when the reference database is done, we open the Internet Explorer and we will go to make it to connect the mission planner and the reference database. So host mp for public, so edit connection, password, I think it's admin by default. Admin, yes. So we will now set the password over here for everything, for so all the sector will open by only this one default thing. So localhost, it will stay like this, port is the same, login name, if you remember we didn't specify any, so it's a root, and there's no password, and we can just click save. Back to SEOW sectors. Okay, so now as you can see it's different. We have all the sectors in there, and database itself is now applied through all of these sectors. So we don't want to use exactly the reference database for our project, and we will need to add the smaller database for some particular sector we want to use. Okay, so let's see what we could use, what would be interesting to show everything what we could do on the SEOW. Let's see. Well, personally, I would like to go with Okinawa. We can show ships there and other things, but we cannot show trains, I think. So over here, you guys can open any of this sector by typing admin password. So I will set it here. Okay, so let's open it. As you can see, we are in. We can see. Okay. As you can see, our icons are not quite good. Actually, there are no icons in there. That means we need to go into configuration file and set where the icons actually are. Where is the icon folder? So to fix this, we need to go to our web server. Where is it? Examp, HT docs, examp. Oh no, mp for public, and now we need to find the script folder which contains configuration file. We will open it with this. Okay, so over here we have to set where's the radar location folder. This will only work if you want to host it on your own computer. If you don't want to host it on your own computer, but you have the web server over here, you will have to connect somehow the game server and the web server, so game server sends the radar logs file to your. It's a little bit tricky to do, but it can be done easily. I've done that few times. So for now, we are not interested in this thing. We are interested in icon location. So icon location says COW MP4 public unit icons. This means we just delete this one and we leave the rest like this, and it should point and it should load our icons now. Okay, it's done. So all the icons are now in there, no boxes anymore. So this thing is done. Okay, so we can close it. Okay, now let's decide what we're gonna do. Basically, I will go with Okinawa because I have one project in mind. Maybe I can just extend it a little bit after it, and we will show trains on some other sector. So first of all, we want to load smaller Okinawa database. So we will create a new database. We'll call it like this, cdb74 underscore Okinawa. Okay, of course it's empty right now, so we will load the small one in there. Okinawa. Okay, open. It's loaded, but we need to apply it now, so press execute. And we have to wait a bit. It's not gonna last for 4 hours because it's small, but it will take a few minutes. So let's leave it aside until we see what else we can do. In the meanwhile, we will install CDCS. It's a generator program for generating the missions and analyzing the missions. 3, 6. Here. Supported on my system. Install. Close. Okay, I will pause it for a while and then we will continue when it's done. Okay, it has been done. I forgot to change the letter here. CDB 74. Okay. Our Okinawa database has been made here. It's empty, of course. It only contains necessary stuff which are added in by default by the guy who captured the data for this database. So at this point, we want to connect the sector of Okinawa when we press Okinawa, so it doesn't open the reference database like it will open it with admin and password, but to use this smaller one, which is obvious difference in size between those two. And we're gonna do this just like we did it for the reference database. Go there, admin. Now find the Okinawa, scroll it, select MySQL localhost. We didn't change anything, so root is still here. Of course, on the public web server, you will have different credentials. It won't be just a root. You will have the password, and you actually on public servers, if you are not an admin, you won't be able to enter this area at all. So this is localhost 3306 root, and we will here change this to Okinawa. Then we go down and click save, back to campaign sectors. Okay, so at this point we don't have any actual running campaign, so there are no news from any front. Usually we have a news from the front after a mission has been played, but over here there is nothing. It's completely clean thing, just the reference and connection to Okinawa, which is not initialized yet, because otherwise it would change the color of these letters over here. To initialize this, we need to make the units and put some units into this database, but this is some other job. For now, we will just connect the generator with the database, and you will see how that looks like. So this is the generator. We will use MySQL. We will use localhost 3306. Our server login name is the same, root. There is no password, and database on which we are connecting to is CDB74. Okay. Make database connection. Now it's green. Okay. So we will put here host name. Let's say warp. Theater name. We will set here that mission should last 2 hours. This thing doesn't have to be a misconcepted with the flying time. Flying time can be whatever we specify, but not longer than 2 hours. This length of 2 hours means only if we start at 6, the next mission will be at 8, then in 10, then in 12, and so on until we as long as we want, regardless what is the flight time, 1 hour, half an hour, 2 hours, or something. So before we end this session, which would actually conclude the session of how to install the whole thing, I forgot to explain the principle of this work. How actually does this work in some visual way? So let's put this thing down, and let me open, I don't know, paint. So let's draw a little bit. So let's say this is the web page. Then let's say this is the database. Okay, then let's say this is the game. Where to put this one? Let's say here. I'll do game. Then we have DCS, CDCS generator program. Okay, so we have our web page, which is this MP for public. Let me write it here. MP for public. So database is what it is. Reference plus additional databases. So I won't show anything over here. We have, of course, our IL2 game over here, and we have a software in here. So how this thing works, we have set up so far the server, which actually uh, incorporate both these two, database and the web server itself, both of these things in that one folder. So I'm going to delete this one. We have set up the database for the reference to open the web, to be able to open the web page. So this means that server and the database have a communication, two-side communication. Whatever is done on the web page, it's written in the database, and of course what's changed in the database is displayed on the web page itself. So this software, once we set up the campaign, the commanders are basically not using the game itself for anything. They are just clicking and making the moves on the web page. Web page send all the data to a database, of course, which is recording all the thing. It's like a hard drive for all of this. And of course, when someone wants to open the page and display it, it sends the data back. So it's a circle over here. When all is done, and let's say we want to go and play a mission, then this CDC software comes into play, and it connects to database and work its gizmos with the database, and it's making the stuff for the game, which games understand. So it will chunk all of this data which is there, and it will make the mission which game understand. So after this is done, it will put the mission itself, you will see that later in the next sessions, it will put the mission itself inside the game folder. You will normally run co-op game, you will see the game, play the game, and from the game standpoint, this is it. The game itself will provide you with mission. Let me click this. The game itself will provide event log. So event log, after the hosting has been finished, the event log will then be taken by this CDC software, CDCS software, and it will be read by it. So this means it will put all events back to the database, whatever has happened, who kills what, where, and everything will be sent back to database, recorded over there, and when this is done, it's immediately visible on the web page. So this is the basic principle how this thing is going. So the game itself have no clue about the web page and database, and not even the CDCS, because it's just taking the game mission, taking the mission, host it, play it, making the event log, and all other gizmos are made by CDCS software, database, and of course web page, which displays all the thing. The next mission, when all this thing is done, whatever is dead is dead. You will see that on the map. So this is kind of dynamic campaigning thing, which allows you to use and work on your previous results and status in the next mission. That's the whole beauty of it. You are not playing one mission only. You can build and make campaigns with some meaningful warfare which lasts even for years if you want that. If you design it to last for years, that's up to designer to decide what will be and how long and so on. So this is the basic thing how I should have explained this in the beginning, but after we went through this process, maybe it's a little bit easier to understand the concept how this thing actually works. So this is the CDCS program. This is the MP4 public. Actually, right now it's on the web. We cannot. I don't have a folder here. Maybe I mean I have it here. Just a second. So over here in htdocs, this is the folder. This is what we are opening. MP4 public, and it gives us this. And of course, database is also here inside XCMP, inside where are you? MySQL, yes. So these are the databases, and as you can see, they're there. All the tables, everything, it's in there, and we are using just a program to see it visually and to work on the database, but this is a lesson. This is some other lesson. For now, it's enough to understand what we are talking about here, how to set up a working environment for you as designers or commanders to make a test scenario, or to make actual thing, to go through actual thing and make some campaign where everyone else whom you invite can enjoy and play the campaigns on Sundays or any other day in the week. So this concludes session 1. Let's meet again in session 2, where we will start to make our Okinawa campaign, and this is where game itself come into play, because we need some data to enter the system, and we will need to use full mission builder to make this happen. See you guys.